Essentialism offers a transformative approach to cutting through the noise of modern life, helping you focus on what truly matters so you can achieve greater clarity, purpose, and impact. We'll cover the entire book in just a few minutes. Chapter 1. The Essentialist. At its core, being an essentialist means focusing on identifying and pursuing what truly matters while letting go of distractions and non-essential tasks. It's about doing fewer things, but doing them better. This mindset emphasizes quality over quantity and warns of the dangers of trying to do everything, which often leads to mediocrity and burnout. The chapter begins by introducing the philosophy of essentialism, systematically eliminating non-essentials to focus on the few priorities that truly matter. Through compelling examples, McKeown contrasts the lives of an essentialist and a non-essentialist. The essentialist achieves meaningful outcomes by focusing their energy on high-value activities, while the non-essentialist spreads themselves too thin and becomes overwhelmed. The shift to essentialism isn't just practical, it's liberating. By removing unnecessary commitments, you regain control over your time and align your actions with your values. Consider this powerful quote: "The wisdom of life consists in the elimination of non-essentials." It reminds us that life isn't about doing more things, but about doing the right things. So how can we adopt this approach? Start each day by identifying one priority that will have the most significant impact. Regularly audit your commitments and let go of anything that doesn't align with your values. Finally, practice saying no gracefully. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's essential for protecting your time and energy. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Chapter 2. Choose. The Invincible Power of Choice. One of the central tenets of essentialism is recognizing that choice is a fundamental human right, and one we often forget we have. Too many people allow societal pressures or others' expectations to dictate their lives, effectively surrendering their agency. McKeown argues that many of us drift through life on autopilot, reacting to demands rather than intentionally choosing our paths. By reclaiming our ability to choose, we take back control and focus on what is truly meaningful. He provides thought-provoking examples of people who transform their lives by actively deciding what to pursue and, more importantly, what to let go of. The chapter's first quote, "If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will," serves as a wake-up call. When you let others make decisions for you, you sacrifice your autonomy. The second quote, "We are free to choose, but we are not free from the consequences of our choices," highlights the responsibility that comes with reclaiming your agency. How can you put this into practice? Reflect on your recent decisions and identify areas where you allowed external pressures to dictate your actions. Set aside time weekly to evaluate your priorities, making deliberate choices about how you spend your time and energy. Finally, consider adopting a mantra like, "I choose to focus on what matters." This simple phrase can help reinforce your commitment to intentional living. Chapter 3. DISCERN. The Unimportance of Practically Everything. Here we delve into the idea that most of what demands our attention is ultimately unimportant. McKeown introduces the concept of the trivial many and the vital few, a principle rooted in the observation that only a small fraction of activities truly contribute to our success and fulfillment. Essentialists cultivate the skill of discernment, learning to identify the vital few and ignore the rest. This chapter emphasizes how much of life is noise, with only a few things being truly exceptional. When we forget our ability to choose, we become helpless in the face of endless distractions. Through vivid examples, McKeown guides us in evaluating commitments and redirecting our energy toward high-impact activities. The result? Greater clarity, reduced stress, and more meaningful progress. Two quotes encapsulate this chapter beautifully. The first, "Almost everything is noise. Only a few things are exceptional," reminds us to focus on what truly matters. The second, "When we forget our ability to choose, we learn to be helpless." challenges us to reclaim control over our attention and energy. To apply these ideas, start by writing down your top 3 priorities each week. This practice ensures you're focusing on what's most important. Use the question, "Is this the most important thing I can do right now?" to guide your decisions throughout the day. Lastly, avoid multitasking. By giving your full attention to high-impact activities, you'll make meaningful strides toward your goals. Chapter 4. Trade-off. Which problem do I want? Trade-offs are an unavoidable part of life. Every choice we make means giving up something else. Essentialists embrace this reality instead of resisting it. Rather than viewing trade-offs as limitations, they see them as opportunities to prioritize what truly matters. This deliberate approach helps reduce stress and improve decision-making. Greg McKeown reminds us, "You can do anything, but not everything." This powerful truth underscores the importance of focusing on the vital few rather than trying to do it all. When we fail to acknowledge trade-offs, we spread ourselves thin and make poor decisions. The essentialist, on the other hand, evaluates each option carefully, considering what they might be sacrificing by saying yes to something. They use this lens to prioritize long-term goals over short-term desires. To put this into practice, before committing to a new opportunity, pause and ask yourself, what am I giving up by saying yes? Reflect on past trade-offs to identify patterns, what worked well and what didn't. These insights will guide you towards smarter choices in the future. Trade-offs are not obstacles. They are a tool for living intentionally. Chapter 5. Escape, the perks of being unavailable. One of the biggest challenges in today's world is the constant noise and busyness of daily life. In Chapter 5, McKeown explains that creating space to think and reflect is essential for identifying what truly matters. Essentialists deliberately disconnect from distractions and carve out time to recharge. This intentional pause allows them to clarify their priorities and make better decisions. McKeown states, "Only by eliminating distractions can we uncover the essential." In a world filled with notifications, meetings, and endless to-do lists, it's easy to lose sight of what's important. If we don't make time to think, someone else will decide our priorities for us. By stepping away from the constant busyness, we can unlock creativity and gain clarity about our goals. How can we apply this in our own lives? Start by scheduling regular time for solitude and reflection. Block out focused work time by turning off notifications or setting boundaries with colleagues. Additionally, create a daily habit of stepping away from technology. Even just a few minutes of mindfulness can make a big difference. The quiet moments we create for ourselves are where the essential reveals itself. Chapter 6. Look, see what really matters. Chapter 6 encourages us to look through the complexity of life and identify the core issues. Clarity and perspective are essential tools for better decision-making and purposeful action. McKeown shares a simple yet profound truth. Clarity is the antidote to complexity. By cutting through the noise and focusing on the vital few, we can make decisions aligned with our values and goals. Without clarity, we risk becoming overwhelmed by trivial distractions that drain our energy and time. Essentialists take a step back, analyze their commitments, and ensure their actions align with what truly matters. To bring this into your life, regularly review your goals and ask yourself, what is the essential purpose of this task? Journaling can be a powerful tool to clarify your thoughts and focus your efforts. Writing down your priorities helps you filter out distractions and concentrate on high-value activities. Remember, clarity leads to purposeful action, and purposeful action leads to meaningful results. Chapter 7. Play. Embrace the wisdom of your inner child. When was the last time you truly played? Not worked, not exercised for a purpose, but played just for the joy of it. In Chapter 7, McKeown reveals how play is not just for children. It's a vital part of creativity, innovation, and overall well-being. Far from being a waste of time, play enhances problem-solving skills, boosts productivity, and allows us to approach challenges with fresh energy and perspective. Think about it. When are you most likely to have your best ideas? Often it's not when you're grinding away at your desk, but when you're relaxed, exploring, or having fun. McKeown writes, "Play is essential for creativity and joy," and reminds us, the best ideas often come when we stop working and start playing. This doesn't mean neglecting responsibilities. It means intentionally integrating play into your life to unlock creativity and reduce stress. To implement this, schedule regular time for unstructured play or hobbies that bring you joy. It could be anything: doodling, playing a game, or even dancing around the living room. Encourage playful exploration to generate new ideas, and when facing challenges, adopt a mindset of curiosity and experimentation. Play reminds us to approach life with lightness, which can make even difficult tasks feel more manageable. Chapter 8. Sleep. Protect the asset. This is a call to reframe how we think about rest. In a culture that glorifies overwork and hustle, sleep is often treated as a luxury. But McKeown argues the opposite. Sleep is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Sleep is the foundation of physical and mental health. It enhances decision-making, creativity, and focus, all the tools we need to function at our best. Essentialists understand that rest isn't time wasted. It's an investment in performance. McKeown challenges the myth that productivity requires endless hours of work. Instead, he shows that prioritizing sufficient downtime allows us to recharge and operate more effectively. As he puts it, by protecting our asset, our body and mind, we maximize our effectiveness. How can you prioritize sleep? Start by establishing a consistent sleep routine, going to bed and waking up at the same times each day. Avoid overcommitting your schedule so you have room to rest. Most importantly, view sleep as a non-negotiable part of your success strategy. It's not something you squeeze in, it's something you protect. When you're well rested, everything else in your life improves. Chapter 9. Select. The power of extreme criteria. McKeown introduces the concept of using extreme criteria to evaluate opportunities and commitments. This is about being exceptionally selective so you can focus only on the most valuable options. McKeown's advice is clear. If it isn't a clear yes, then it's a clear no. In other words, don't settle for good when you can make room for great. Many of us fall into the trap of saying yes to too many things, good opportunities that ultimately dilute our focus. Essentialists, however, use strict criteria to filter out distractions and ensure alignment with their goals. By doing so, they achieve better outcomes with less stress. As McKeown writes, the disciplined pursuit of less means saying no to the non-essential so we can say yes to the essential. To apply this, start by evaluating opportunities with a clear set of criteria. Ask yourself, does this align with my most important goals? Create a checklist for commitments to avoid making impulsive decisions. And practice saying no confidently and politely. It's a skill that protects your time for what truly matters. Remember, every no to the non-essential is a yes to your priorities. Chapter 10. Clarify. One decision that makes 1,000. Imagine making one decision that could simplify 1,000 future ones. That's the power of clarity, which is at the heart of Chapter 10. McKeown explains that clarity of purpose is a foundation for effective decision-making. When we define a clear mission or priority, it becomes the compass that guides all our actions, ensuring every effort aligns with meaningful goals. This idea resonates in the quote, "Clarity is the one decision that makes 1,000 decisions easier." With a well-defined purpose, you can reduce complexity, eliminate distractions, and focus on what truly matters. For instance, if your mission is to prioritize family time, choices like declining unnecessary meetings or setting work boundaries become obvious. McKeown also reminds us, when we have clarity about what is essential, we gain the courage to eliminate the non-essential. Knowing your purpose gives you the confidence to cut away distractions. How can we apply this? Start by writing a personal mission statement that outlines your core values and goals. Then, regularly review your decisions to ensure they align with that mission. Finally, simplify your commitments by focusing only on activities that directly support your purpose. Clarity isn't just a tool, it's a game changer for living with intention. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Chapter 11. Dare. The power of a graceful no. We all struggle with saying no. This chapter highlights that learning to say no gracefully is one of the most powerful skills an essentialist can develop. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about protecting your time and energy for what truly matters. McKeown encourages us to reframe no as a trade-off. By saying no to something good, we make space to say yes to something great. The challenge, of course, is delivering that no in a way that preserves relationships and minimizes conflict. McKeown gives us this insight. Courage is saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. He also acknowledges the social tension, explaining, saying no often means trading popularity for respect. In other words, people may be disappointed in the moment, but they'll respect your clarity and boundaries in the long run. To start practicing this, try a polite but firm approach. For example, say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit right now." Set clear boundaries and communicate them to others. This prevents overcommitment before it starts. Lastly, take time to reflect on your current obligations and identify where a no is needed to realign with your priorities. Saying no is difficult, but with practice, it becomes a vital tool for living with focus and purpose. Chapter 12. Uncommit. Win big by cutting your losses. Now we focus on the power of uncommitting. Many of us stay stuck in unproductive commitments because of the sunk cost fallacy, the belief that we've already invested too much time, money, or energy to walk away. McKeown challenges this mindset, reminding us that it's better to admit a mistake than to perpetuate it. He writes, "Courage is being willing to make tough trade-offs. Uncommitting frees up time, energy, and resources for what truly matters. It allows us to refocus on goals and activities that align with our values." McKeown warns, beware of the sunk cost bias. It's better to admit a mistake than perpetuate it. Recognizing when something no longer serves you is a strength, not a weakness. To uncommit effectively, start by evaluating your ongoing commitments and asking, does this still align with my goals? If the answer is no, create an exit plan to transition smoothly. Focus on future benefits rather than past investments to overcome the sunk cost fallacy. By letting go of what's not working, you reclaim the space and energy needed for meaningful pursuits. Chapter 13. Edit the invisible art. Let's start with an analogy. Think of your life as a story you're writing. Editing is the process of removing unnecessary words or ideas to make the story stronger. Chapter 13 shows how essentialists approach life the same way. They refine and simplify, cutting out what's unnecessary to reveal what truly matters. McKeown reminds us that editing isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. He writes, the ability to eliminate distractions and focus on the essential is a superpower. This means regularly reviewing your commitments, projects, and even habits to identify what no longer serves you. By removing what's extraneous, you make space for what has the greatest impact. McKeown highlights how this process not only creates clarity, but amplifies the outcomes of your efforts. As he puts it, when we cut out what doesn't matter, we make space for what does. To apply this principle, start with a regular audit of your calendar and commitments. Are there activities that don't align with your goals? Simplify your to-do list by removing tasks that don't contribute to meaningful outcomes. Finally, develop a mindset of continuous refinement. Always look for opportunities to streamline and focus on the essentials. Editing your life may feel like letting go, but it's really about creating space for greatness. Chapter 14. Limit the freedom of setting boundaries. Chapter 14 explains that boundaries aren't about saying no to everything. They're about protecting your time, energy, and focus from external demands. Essentialists know that clear limits create freedom. Without boundaries, you're at the mercy of other people's priorities. With them, you ensure your energy is directed toward what truly matters. McKeown writes, boundaries are not constraints. They are liberating. For example, if you set boundaries around your work hours, you create time for personal priorities like family or self-care. Similarly, saying no to excessive commitments allows you to say yes to activities that align with your goals. As McKeown wisely points out, if you don't set boundaries, others will set them for you. To make this actionable, start by identifying your non-negotiables, those areas of your life that need protection. Communicate these boundaries clearly to others so they understand your limits. Use tools like time blocking to create structure around your most important tasks. And when your boundaries are challenged, practice enforcing them firmly but respectfully. Setting limits isn't selfish. It's essential for maintaining focus and balance. Chapter 15. Buffer. The unfair advantage. Life is unpredictable, and Chapter 15 emphasizes the importance of planning for the unexpected. Essentialists build buffers into their schedules and resources, giving themselves the flexibility to handle unforeseen challenges without losing focus on their priorities. As McKeown explains, a buffer is the margin that allows you to breathe. Why is this so important? Without buffers, even small disruptions can derail your entire day. But with extra time, resources, or capacity built into your plans, you can adapt and stay on track. For example, scheduling extra time between meetings allows you to handle overruns without rushing. Similarly, setting aside a contingency fund in your budget helps you manage unexpected expenses without stress. As McKeown writes, by planning for the unexpected, we make room for the essential. To create buffers in your life, start by scheduling extra time for tasks or meetings to accommodate delays. Set aside a portion of your budget for emergencies or unplanned opportunities. And most importantly, practice undercommitting. By saying yes to fewer things, you ensure you have the capacity to handle whatever comes your way. Buffers give you peace of mind and the freedom to stay focused on what truly matters. Chapter 16. Subtract. Bring forth more. By removing obstacles. Often, we believe that achieving more requires adding effort, resources, or complexity. But Chapter 16 challenges this mindset by emphasizing the power of subtraction. McKeown explains that removing obstacles can often have a greater impact than adding more to our plates. Essentialists focus on simplifying processes and eliminating barriers, clearing the way for more effective progress. The quote, "Sometimes the best way to add value is to subtract the unnecessary," captures this principle perfectly. For example, think of a cluttered desk. It's hard to work efficiently because the mess creates mental and physical barriers. But once you declutter, the space becomes conducive to productivity. Similarly, when we eliminate unnecessary steps in a project or simplify a workflow, it becomes much easier to reach our goals. So how do we apply subtraction in daily life? Start by identifying bottlenecks in your workflow. Are there tasks or systems that create unnecessary complexity? Look for ways to streamline or remove them. Declutter both your physical and digital spaces to reduce distractions and create a clearer path forward. Finally, simplify your goals and processes to make them more achievable. By focusing on subtraction, you gain clarity and amplify your impact. Chapter 17. Progress. The power of small wins. McKeown highlights how consistent, incremental progress leads to significant achievements over time. Essentialists understand that big goals can feel overwhelming, but breaking them into manageable steps helps maintain momentum. Recognizing and celebrating small wins builds confidence and keeps motivation high. As McKeown writes, progress is better made in small, deliberate steps than in frantic leaps. This approach isn't just about efficiency, it's about sustainability. Small wins act as building blocks, giving us tangible milestones to celebrate along the way. Think about learning a new skill, like playing an instrument. Mastering one chord or song at a time not only makes the process manageable, but also encourages you to keep going. To harness the power of small wins, start by breaking your goals into smaller, actionable steps. For instance, if your goal is to write a book, focus on completing one chapter or even one page at a time. Track your progress regularly to stay motivated and measure success. Celebrate small achievements to reinforce your commitment, whether it's finishing a task, hitting a milestone, or simply making steady progress. Chapter 18. Flow, the genius of routine. Think about your daily routine. Is it helping you focus on what matters, or is it filled with distractions and inefficiencies? In Chapter 18, McKeown highlights the power of routines in helping essentialists maintain focus and achieve a state of flow. By creating consistent habits, we can minimize distractions and decision fatigue, freeing up energy for what truly matters. As McKeown writes, routine is a powerful way to channel focus and energy toward what matters most. When routines align with your priorities, life becomes simpler, and achieving flow, a state of deep focus and productivity, becomes easier. For example, consider how many successful people start their mornings with a structured routine like exercise or quiet reflection. These practices set the tone for the day and ensure that the most critical tasks are prioritized. As McKeown explains, by designing routines around priorities, we create space for flow and deep work. To implement this, identify the most critical parts of your day and build routines to protect them. Establish consistent habits for repetitive tasks to eliminate decision fatigue. Finally, schedule blocks of uninterrupted time for focused work on essential activities. With thoughtful routines in place, you'll create a foundation for consistency and clarity, making it easier to focus on what truly matters. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Chapter 19. Focus. What's important? Now. Here we shift our attention to the present moment, reminding us that essentialists focus on what's important now. In a world filled with distractions, this focus allows us to engage deeply with current priorities and avoid the overwhelm of multitasking. McKeown puts it simply, focus is about saying no to everything except the one thing that matters right now. The key to this chapter is the power of undivided attention. Multitasking may feel productive, but it often leads to shallow engagement and mediocre results. Instead, essentialists prioritize one task at a time, fully committing to the moment. McKeown emphasizes that this clarity about what's important now leads to greater productivity and peace of mind. To bring this into practice, begin each day by identifying your top priority and dedicating focused time to it. Techniques like the Pomodoro technique, which encourages timed work intervals with breaks, can help maintain concentration. Regularly ask yourself, what is the most important thing I can do at this moment? This habit keeps your attention where it belongs, on what matters most right now. Chapter 20. B. The Essentialist Life. Finally, Chapter 20 ties everything together, showing us how to fully embrace the essentialist way of life. McKeown describes this as a lifelong commitment to focusing on the essential and letting go of the non-essential. It's not about checking off a to-do list. It's about aligning every action with your values and priorities. He writes, Essentialism isn't a task to complete. It's a way of life to embrace. Living as an essentialist transforms every aspect of life, bringing clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. By consistently pursuing less but better, we create space for meaningful contributions and personal growth. As McKeown reminds us, the disciplined pursuit of less leads to a life rich in purpose and joy. To fully embrace this mindset, reflect on your core values and ensure your daily actions align with them. Create a long-term vision for your life centered on what is truly essential, and practice gratitude for the progress you've made in simplifying and focusing your life. These steps reinforce the essentialist philosophy, making it a natural part of your daily choices and actions.